Yeah, welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. Yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing Halo. Halo. Welcome, 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 welcome. Yes, 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 yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. What? Why y'all still singing? I know we told you not to sing. Okay, never mind. Welcome everybody. Hello, I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing for UNARepublic and UNA University, where we help you find your social freedom, financial freedom, and your spiritual freedom. Most importantly, let's go. I don't know what's going on with my voice tonight, but so glad to have everybody in the house. Okay, we are celebrating tonight. We were trying to do this last week, but we're doing it this week. So welcome. Glad we're able to do it this week. We have a new system. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. We're broadcasting live on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Rumble. Let's go. Okay. Everybody in the house, let me give shout outs. Now, first of all, I need to make sure we are on TikTok because we're celebrating a TikTok milestone. All my people on YouTube, welcome. User, welcome. Selkie, welcome. Thomas, welcome. Kelly, welcome. Raina, welcome. Very happy Mondays. Welcome. I love the name. Who else is in the house? Copper Goddess, welcome. Divinities, I don't know what's going on with my voice tonight. Divinity is in the house. Who else is in the house? 1 second. I'm checking. Let me scroll down here. Because I want to make sure I say hello to everybody. Forgive me. Okay. Little mouse don't want to move. All right. So glad to have everybody here. I'm just trying to make sure I get logged on to my TikTok. I don't know why TikTok be playing these games every time we're trying to go live. But I'm in. Hold on for 1 second. I'm trying to see if I'm in. I guess. I don't know. All right. So we've made some milestones on TikTok and YouTube. So we're going to celebrate tonight. Now, let me just say this at the top. For those who have bought either of our books for UNA, whether it be Tapping into Your Supernatural Powers or the Beginner Law book, all right, we're giving away a free consultation. So if you've gotten either of these books, go get them, because we're going to give away 3 consultations tonight, 3 free consultations. And those of you all who've asked, our consultations tend to be highly expensive. So we're giving away 3 of those tonight to celebrate and to say thank you to those of you all who have supported us. We want you to know we love you. We thank you so much. So we're going to give away free consultations. I'm going to ask some questions tonight. So if you are wanting a free consultation, or if you want to be a part of it, get your books and let's go. We got some free consultations to give away tonight. So before I get into everything that we're talking about tonight, first of all, y'all know we got to deal with some business. Those of you all who are looking for your trust package, all right? This is a UNA membership trust package. Want to welcome Tyree. Welcome. And all my people on TikTok, welcome, because this is about our milestones that we have gained on TikTok as well as YouTube, as a matter of fact. Let's go into this. If you're interested in getting the membership trust package, you can find this. Go, my people on TikTok, name, number, email. TikTok, name, number, email. If you're looking for it and you're not on one of our platforms, go and find us at UNAuniversity.com, UNAuniversity.com, okay? And then you can send a notice, so that we can get you into our workshop. It's a free workshop. And then you can find out all of our products and services, and you can get this membership trust. It comes with your allodial ID, all right, which has your spiritual name. Whenever you need your documents, it's going to be here. It comes with all of your documents needed for your trust, with your membership badge. Also, it comes with an education, very importantly, because you need to know how to use these documents, where you post them, why you're posting them there, and everything else that goes with the documents, what they are and how to stand on them. And we're going to put them on record for you, okay? So that anytime you need them, you can go to UNA, your QR code here. You can scan this and you're going to have quick access to your documents, okay? So find us, my TikTok people, name, number, email, in the inbox. Put it in the inbox, okay? And then for everyone else, go to UNARepublic.com. All right. Also, the beginner law book. I want to encourage you to get that, okay? If you want to get the physical copy, it's going to come with a copy of societal totem pole, your vibratory frequency chart, your hierarchy of laws, and your universal laws. Okay, so you're going to get an extra copy of this. Why are we giving you an extra copy with the physical book? Because we want you to put them up on your walls, on your mirrors, on your refrigerator. Put them up so that these laws can become a part of you. That's the universal UNA beginner law book. Go to UNAuniversity.com. Also, for those of you all who are looking to tap into your supernatural powers, here it is, the book. All right. Tapping into your supernatural powers. You can find this on UNAuniversity.com. Okay. So welcoming everybody in the house. Hello, everybody. Let's go. Okay. What are we talking about today? We are celebrating 50,000 on TikTok. Yay. Okay. Also, we're celebrating 5,000 on YouTube. Yay. Yeah, it took us a long time to get there. It's all good. Thank you all for finally seeing us. Also, we're going into our 7th year here with UNA, and 7 years is a big number. It's always been a big number throughout my life. So we know that 7 years, which is coming up in 2026, is going to be huge for us. So we want to thank you all for supporting us and allowing us to give you information and respecting the facts. So we thank you so much. We're definitely going to take questions tonight. Also, I'm going over a few things as far as how UNA started, because I normally don't go into my personal path and things like that. But I'm going to go into a little bit of that. I'm taking all of your questions. I want to go into what's happening on TikTok, some of our more viral videos. We're going to go through that and answer some questions on those. And again, remember, for those of y'all who have purchased the book, Hierarchy of Laws, Tapping into Your Supernatural Powers, we're giving away 3 free consultations tonight. Okay, 3 free 1-hour consultations so that you can ask me whatever questions you want to ask, whether it be about the spiritual side, whether it be about universal laws, whether it be about anything else that's going on in your personal life, anything in between. You get to ask me about that, so you will have time. So if you've purchased a book, whether it be universal laws or tapping into your supernatural powers, get ready. All right, go get the book, because I'm going to ask you some questions from the book. And then other people who have not purchased the book, you might get a chance. You might get a shot, okay? Because we got a couple of questions. Give me one moment. I want to make sure I got some questions that. All right, so let's see. Let's go. Now, first of all, start off here. Okay. Thank you once everybody who supported us. And we are so happy. Right now we're at 52.3 thousand on TikTok, and then a little bit over 5,000 on YouTube, our other channels, we're building X, Twitch, and Rumble. So we're building over there. You can find us on all of the platforms at UNARepublic, UNARepublic. Okay. So I want to start here by saying UNA, what UNA is and why it started. All right. So UNA started in 2020. All right. And it started because I was coming in the country. So I had been out of the country for 7 years. I was living in South America, and I had jumped ship because I had left this country without a desire to ever return. And so I'll go into that, my plight with that. And, we'll kind of get an understanding of how UNA came to be. But for me, I'm going to say this right now. UNA is first of all, let's understand what it means. All right. UNA, United Nations from America. UNA, United Nations from America. And it started once again in 2020. And the purpose of it was because what I found after I had started learning this information and I had started teaching people all over the United States and in other countries as well, I found that there was a block, and it started at the county. Found that the county is one of the most important parts of governmental agencies that we who operate in the private, the most important governmental agency is the county. And so I found that we were getting blocked. So it was like, well, you know what? We need to have our own county. And that's when I went ahead and established United Nations from America to represent as a county for those of us who are sovereign. Okay. So in doing that and establishing that, then we started to recognize that people really didn't have the knowledge. They wanted to be free, but we started to recognize that, if you're going to be free, you got to have the knowledge of how to walk. So we get a lot of people who would say, hey, these people set up our trust or my trust, but I still ain't free. Well, the only reason why they weren't free is because they didn't have the knowledge and they didn't know how to work the tools that they had. So then we had to establish UNA University, and that was established in 2020 later in the year. So once we established that, we went ahead and we continued to build since 2020. I never thought it would get to this point. So I never knew how long it would go for me. I said, give me 5 years. It's like, give me 5 years. So we're going on 7 years now. So let me help understand how I came to this. For me, I never wanted to be a teacher and instructor. And as a matter of fact, at one point it was, if somebody were calling me a teacher, are you a good teacher? I was like, I'm not no teacher. I'm not here to be teaching people. And so here I am 7 years later with a full university whereby we teach everything about law, whether it be on the spiritual side, cosmic laws, whether it be, common law or man's law, federal codes. We're teaching everything in between and how it all tie in together. And I need it to be understood. I do this because it's a responsibility, and I absolutely love it, but it is a responsibility, not just because it's beyond liking it. So I say that because when you're telling the truth, people give you a hard time, right? You get a hard time when you're trying to share the truth and knowledge people. And I gotta tell you, I have no fear because I know that I'm here for a reason. And so this is my responsibility, because I don't get this information just because, and then I get to sit back and not say anything. I have a responsibility and a duty. So that's why I'm here. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me to share this information with you. So here we are, UNARepublic. That deals with United Nations from America. We call it Republic. So let me say this, because a lot of people see that term And the first thing they think, Republican, or she a Republican. But she ain't Democratic with us over here. We over here. We the pro-peoples. Why is she not Democratic? Yeah, no. It has nothing to do with a Democratic versus a Republic party, right? Republic means that we're standing under God and that we're standing on our God-given rights. Republic protects your God-given rights at all costs. They cannot be voted away. They can't be taken away from you, and this one get the vote and then you don't get that God-given right. That's not how that works. So Republic doesn't deal with anything concerning political parties at all whatsoever. I just want to make sure that you're clear on that term, Republic. So here we go. We got UNA Republic established. We got UNA University. Then we have UNA Federal Court. We got a couple of other entities under that we actually operate. Okay. And again, all of this is started because we saw that there's a need for those of us who are sovereign to have a county and a place where we can go to where the records are kept and not tampered with. Okay. So we're good on that. I know I'm going to have some questions. I want to answer them. And I want to say this, how I got into this. All right. I had a role model, or as a matter of fact, I've been in this for over a decade, studying it and actually applying the knowledge. But there was this woman who, and I'm going to see if I can find her real quick, but she was speaking on law. I remember I had gotten in, I had started learning what law was, what the truth about this situation that we're in with when it comes to law and this situation. But she spoke with such poise and polished knowledge and all that. I was like, if I could speak with a smidgen of the knowledge that she has, man, I'd be awesome. So her name is, I'm gonna see if I can find her now, Queen Lyri. And I had this pulled up, at one point, but when we didn't do the session, Queen Lyri was speaking on law, and I said she was my role model. So and it was funny because I only saw I might have seen one video outside of this one. So pull this on the screen. So this is Queen Lyri. That's why I spelled the name right. This is one of my, you don't have to unmute it. Yeah, she's good. But you can find this, you spell the name Valahra. And I heard her speak and I was like, that's my role model right there. So this is one of the people who, recognizing her speech and the way she was delivering law, I was totally impressed. This was maybe about 3 years after I had already been doing this. So thank you for that, Savvy. So she was one of the people who really spawned me to let me go further. Let me start speaking on this and put this information out. So let me see if I got some questions, and then I'm gonna go into my history as far as I had my own spiritual walk. So everybody has their spiritual walk. And I talked about how I left the country and I jumped ship, and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to see if I can take some questions. I want to once again thank you. And again, I'm going to give away some free consultations. So if you bought either of the books, whether it be Tapping Into Your Supernatural Powers or Beginner Law book, get them, because I'm going to give this away to people who have been supporting us. And I want you to know I appreciate you so much. I love you. I thank you. Let me see. Em says, congratulations. Thank you, Em. The Wounded Womb by, okay, let me see. Thomas says, I listened to her too. Yes. And I might have seen one other video she did, because I went searching. I was like, I need to hear more. And I didn't hear a lot. But anyway, Yeah, so she really put it down with law. She was one of the first people I saw to speak on it. Angel says, congratulations. Was wondering if you could talk about women in our menopause age and why do doctors try so hard to have us have hysterectomies? Please respond and have a topic on this. All right, Angel, I will speak a little bit on that today. Divinity says, I have both. All right, let's go, Divinity. Okay, let me see. My people on TikTok want to welcome you. Tosh, welcome. Thozy, welcome. Tony, welcome. Sadis, welcome. I want to get into this now. I'm going to go into this a little bit. And y'all, if you all have any questions, I'm going to go into hysterectomy later. But if you all have any other questions, let me know. Put them in the comment section. So I want to talk about this because I talked about my spiritual journey. And when I first got into law, I'm telling you where I learned it. I was in a group and this guy, he says, I'm a creditor. And I was like, all right, well, give me some of them credits. I need, a loan, give me a loan. And he laughed. He said, no, I'm a creditor. And then he sent me the information about law. And the name of the website was Creditors is where he sent me. And I didn't know anything about this. This was a long time ago. But he sent it to me. And then I started reading and understanding, because I had been searching for, listen, we in this dimension and things are going on. We haven't been told what's going on. And so he mentioned to me he was a creditor. And so I went to this site and then I started getting information about law, meaning how to operate in court, and recognizes some of these, because I really enjoyed going to court. That was something I always enjoyed anyway. But then when I went to this site, it really showed what's going on in court and how to stand. All right, how to prepare your own documents and all of that. So I was like, whoa, I'm in. And so, but by that time, I had already decided that I was leaving the country. And this was this was right before Obama's second term, okay? And I had actually voted. And I need y'all to understand, the last time I voted, I really felt bad about the way I was voting. Because to be honest with you, when I went to the poll, of course it was Democrats, because that's all I knew growing up, is just Democrat. And so when I went to the poll, I remember Barack was in his second term, or we were voting for Barack's second term. And I remember I'm Democrat. And I'm thinking, when I got down to this part, I was like, it asked about judges and some other officers that were on there. And I'm like, when I ran out of Democrat, then I was like, well, who is this? And who is this? And who is this? I didn't know who these people were. So I hate to say this, but I'm gonna tell you how I was voting for these people. Any, many, miny, mo. Okay. And I felt bad because I'm like, I don't know these people. And then I remember one of the questions it was asking, okay, which one of these people do you want to vote for? And I just voted for this one because it was a woman. I didn't know anything about her principles or what she was standing on, her platform, nothing. And I really felt bad about how I was voting, because I was like, I don't know what this is. So that was the last time I voted. But I left the country right before Barack took office. And I remember this because I was in a hurry to leave the country, because I had learned so much about what was going on that it was like, I already know what's coming. I knew about COVID. I knew about, a lot of these other, and then when you see these false flags, I knew about that. There's false flags all the time. People are not paying attention. And I'm going to name you one. That whole Charlie Kirk, false flag. Boston bombing, false flags. Some of the shootings that you've seen, false flags. That whole Batman thing, there's false flags. So I knew about all these things. It was, I got to go. And so I left the country. At that time, I owned an event facility. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna let that run for however long it runs. I'm gonna use the money. I'm going to America. All right. I knew that I had to leave the country. Now, I didn't know why. All I knew is the spirits had said, you got to go. And at that time, I didn't care. I was like, I'm not coming back. I knew, I had found out that, you know, the United States was a corporation or corporate entity owned by Britain. I didn't know everything I know now, but I knew that nothing in this, that we know of in this society was right. Okay. At that time, Gaddafi, I think they had assassinated him. And there was this celebration about his assassination. And I was like, okay, y'all gonna be in trouble. Let me get up out of here, because these people are celebrating killing somebody and they thinking it's great and all. I gotta go. And there was other things that were going on. Just again, I just had a lot of information but no answers. And it was like, whatever it is, I just need to buy some time. I'm going to get up out of here. I'm not coming back. And plus, the things that I had started to tell people, they didn't want to hear it. That was another thing. So when I look at where we are today and how people are starting to respond to the information, I know that there is an awakening. All right. But at the time when I was saying it, I would get attacked. And part of that had to do with my own energies as well. But I was getting attacked and nobody was listening. So I was like, I'm out. If y'all want to die, y'all go ahead and die. I can die by myself, because y'all not trying to stand up here. So I'm going to go on down over somewhere else, and then I'm out. And I ended up trying to find, since I knew that the United States was falling, I knew that the dollar had fallen. It was just being propped up. That's another story. I'm not going into it today. But I knew all of this. I knew about, okay, the birth certificate, and it's got all that money. I was like, I don't care about that. Keep it. I'm out. I figure out how to do it somewhere else. As a matter of fact, if I don't never see another dollar, I'm just fine. I was out. I didn't want to depend on U.S. currency. I'm like, good, I'm out. So I had to find out where's the best place to go. And in my research, I always know that if something's going down, something else is going up. So I had to find out, well, what is it? And this is when I came, in my research, I came across BRICS, B-R-I-C-S. And that stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa was new to it. And these are countries that have formed an alliance so that they can come up with their own currency. So out of those five, I had to decide, where am I going to go? And so I was like, okay, we're not going to Russia or China or India. And I was like, well, Brazil, what's going on there? South Africa, not interested in that. So Brazil has the highest population of melanated people, second to Africa. Okay. And I was like, well, let me go on down here to Brazil. So I moved to live in Brazil. And, I lived there for about 4 months. And then I ended up going to Argentina, fell in love with Argentina. Okay. Lived down there for 7 years, and I traveled and toured as a singer. That's what I did. I sang. So I traveled the whole country and, did shows and all that entertainment. That's what I did. So all of that being said, this is where my walkabout time came. So this is when I really started learning more about law. And I was really helping a lot of people back in the United States who needed help. They was like, Diva, I was trying to find my documents and they blocked me up. So I'd tell them what to do. I'd show them how to form their documents and things like that. So I was in South America doing this, helping people learn how to file their documents or what have you. And this is, again, when I really started to understand more about who I am as a melanated being, who, what really happened in the United States. When I learned about what happened there, that melanated people in Argentina, actually, it was run by melanated people. The government was run by melanated people, and they tell you that. It's different here in the Americas because they don't tell you. They hide the fact that melanated people ran and actually started the United States of America, right? Melanated people, Moors, that we talk about all the time here. And the same thing happened in Argentina, where there was a government started there by Moors. They don't hide it. They show you in their museums. They show you in their governmental documentation. They know the story about, how there were melanated people that ran the government. They show you in their emblems where they have Moorish seals and what have you in their governmental documents. So again, just being there, being away from the Americas, I was also able to see the cesspool of garbage that they feed people and how they manipulate people in the Americas. We get manipulated and we're not seeing it. So when I talk about false flags, somebody gets it. Somebody's understanding what I'm saying. So with all that being said, that's where I started to teach when I was in South America. Okay. And I was helping a lot of people in North America to get their documents filed. So when I ended up coming back to the Americas, and it was right there at the end of 2019. As a matter of fact, I got back the week of Thanksgiving in 2019. And let me tell you, I was in South America and I knew what was coming. This whole shutdown of, North America and all of that. And at that time, I had started to recognize that it was time for me to transition to another place. All right. Because I was in Argentina doing, what I do. I loved it, but it was time for me to move to another place. And at that same time, my father passed. Okay. Now, I was like, Bill, when I left, I was like, I'm not going back. Whatever happens, whoever passes, they weren't listening to me. So I talked to them and I was like, but I ain't going back. But when my father passed, my mother called me. Well, hey, your daddy. She said, well, when you coming home? I'm like, I'm at home. I'm at home. Come on, you got to come see your daddy off. Okay. So she made me feel some kind of way. And I ended up coming back again, right there at that Thanksgiving of 2019. And as I came back into the country, then they started this talk about shutting down the airports and nobody from United States being able to go into any other country and all of that. And I was like, well, I got to get out of here. And so when I came back, I had already put my documents, my trust on record in South America. So then it was like, okay, I need to put it on record here in North America, in where the place where I live. And I got blocked. And this is why United Nations from America started, because it's like, oh, you gonna block? Well, we're gonna start our own nation. And that's where United Nations from America came from. And it was, deciding a name was specific reason why I chose to call it what I called it. Let me see if I have any questions. Welcome up everybody in TikTok. Welcome everybody in YouTube. All right. I want to give away some these consultations. What are your thoughts on the idea that we are divine beings who choose to incarnate here and temporarily disconnect from our higher selves in order to experience life from a lower, more state? Lower, what is more, M-O-R-E? Lois, I'm very much in alignment with that. We have chosen to be here. And yes, this is a lowered state. As I've also said, if you're here in this dimension, then you're here to learn a lesson. But you've chosen to come into this dimension and learn the lesson. The question is, do you want to keep recycling or do you want to get out and go to a higher level? That's the question. All right. So for me, we're doing a higher level thing. I'm here just so I can give you this information. Make sure you know it. Make sure that you know how to rise to a higher dimension when you choose. Okay. So that's what I'm here for. I want to go into giving these consultations. Thank you for that question. My beginner law book people, if you've purchased the beginner law book, okay, I'm going to ask you a question from the beginner law book, and I'm taking, as a matter of fact, the first two answers. Okay, I'm taking the first two answers. I want to know for the laws of maxim. Laws of maxim, if you have it, tell me, type in okay, this is what I want to know. Under on page number 10, under court appearance, tell me number 13. Let me choose another number. I was going to choose that number because I just saw it was short. But let me choose another number because I don't want to hear somebody talking about why you choose that number. All right. Let's go into page 11, custom and usage. Customs and usage on page number 11. I want you to tell me what number 48 says. Customs and usage, page 11 in the UNA Beginner Law Book. This is because I want to say thank you to the people who have supported UNA. All right. I want to say thank you to those who have supported UNA. Customs and usage on page 11, number 48. I want to know what it is. Right, type it in the comment section. This is under the laws of maxim on page 11. Type it in. First two. The first two, you're getting a free consultation. Type it in. Sage says, thank you for your personal story. Thank you, Sage. I didn't want to bore y'all to death with my personal story. I just wanted to share some things. I seldom share what my plight was and what I had to go through. Can you speak on birth certificates and the stock exchange? Okay, yes, Selkie. Obamacare was my awakening. What did Obamacare do to you? All right, so let me go into this. I do want to go into the birth certificate and the stock exchange, and let's understand what's going on. So one of the things I want you all to understand, and you'll hear people talk about the stock exchange, is that everything gets traded on the stock exchange, everything where there is ownership. And so what the birth certificate is, it is ownership of a stock, which would be your estate that's denoted by your social security number and your all capital letter name. Okay, so pay attention. And I want y'all to hear this because a lot of people tend to get upset and angry because they hear, oh, the stock exchange, and they trading us on the stock market. I need you to understand what happened and why this came about. Okay, so you all know that in 1933, the United States went bankrupt because before that they had stolen all of the gold. So I need to back up just a little bit because we're talking about 1933. Let's first of all understand that right there at that time, between 1928, 1929, the United States was sued, according to my research, by Noble Drew Ali. This is what a lot of people don't talk about. They might not know about. But Noble Drew Ali, he ended up bankrupting a couple of the United States corporations. All right. So, and I'm trying to make a long story short, because when you get me into this, I want to take you all the way back because there's stuff that goes before this. But the United States, there's the United States of America, and then United States Corporation that came into play in 1871. Well, it went bankrupt several times. All right. In 1933, in 1928, that's when it had been really bankrupted by Noble Drew Ali, according to my research, because he sued. And in his suing, they went bankrupt. Then they went on this whole gold spree, which is called, they wanted to steal the gold. They wanted to remove all the gold, where they took all the gold from the people. Now, I need y'all to understand, gold is what they considered money back then. And they want to tell you that's real money now, but it's really not. And I want you to pay attention to why. I'm going to tell you, don't let me forget to tell you why this gold is not real money. Don't let me forget, because I really need to go into that. But so the government, quote unquote, government, the U.S. corporation went in and they told all of the people to turn over their gold. So I call this a gold spree, where they was like, trying to get the gold and suck all the gold out of the hands of the people who had gold. And they wanted them to turn it over. They made it almost illegal for you to have gold, which is madness. It's madness how they would allow such a thing to happen. But okay. So they wanted everybody to turn their gold over. And in doing so, they removed what was considered real money from the public. So then there's this House Joint Resolution called 192, House Joint Resolution 192, which took place in 1933, whereby they're saying there is no money, so that all of the gold or the payments of anything is the responsibility of the United States corporation. The United States, they want to call it a government when it wasn't. It's just a corporation run by Britain. And so when they went bankrupt, it's like, well, let's put it like this. Nobody had any money. None of the people had any money. So everything became their responsibility. And they were bankrupted because they were being sued. And if I'm not mistaken, that lawsuit still stands to this day. Okay. That's another story. I'm not going into it, but let me go into this. It became the United States corporation responsibility to pay the debt of all of the people. How did this happen? Remember, they took all the gold from the people. First of all, the people were putting their gold in banks. So the Bank of New York was one of the first ones. It was like, yeah, put your gold with us, and then you can write a check based on how much gold you have with us. All right. And so as they started doing this, they started becoming weary of the banks. It's like, hey, you know what? We don't want these papers, these dollar bills, these bank notes. Give us our gold back. And when the people started doing the rush on the gold, then they shut it down. The same way, you've heard about other banks around the world where they'll shut down when people do a run on the bank. Yeah, because the gold wasn't there. And the United States corporation was passing to the federal, because the federal government, is their responsibility, to be honest with you. They loaned the gold to the United States corporation. But it was federal's responsibility to take care of the gold of the people. And when they loaned it to them, they never got it back. And so now the people are wondering, where's my gold? And then they did a gold rush where they're like, hey, you got to give us all your gold. Okay, they were just sucking it out of all the people. Okay, so now it became the United States corporation to pay for the debt of the people. Watch this now. Y'all know about the Hague. I know y'all like, well, what's this to answer? To pay attention so I can give you the whole history. I don't want to give you just a piece of it. You need to know the whole thing. So with the Hague, the whole deal was that the United States has to have these laws whereby they're governed by making sure they take care of the debt of the people. They're governed. This is why you got to get a receipt. Okay, whenever you go in to pay for something, you buy shoes, you buy this, they got to give you a receipt. Otherwise, it's considered a fraudulent transaction because you are not supposed to be paying for anything. What's supposed to happen is if you go buy some groceries, they're supposed to give you a receipt. You're supposed to put your social security number on it, sign it, date it, and give it to them. And it's paid for because that social security number is a credit card number. That's exactly what it is. Federal credit card. But they have invented this thing called Federal Reserve notes, whereby they're passing it off to the people and making the people use that to pay. And then you get a receipt and you don't know what to do with it. Well, the truth is you're supposed to get all that money back dollar for dollar that you put to pay for whatever you paid for. Okay, so that's what happened. Because now it's the United States responsibility. So watch this now. So Social Security number and the birth certificate and how it's on the stock market. Okay, so now the United States corporation is in debt and they got to find a way to get money. And what they found is, okay, if I can get a birth certificate from this mother over here, then I can use that to get a loan over here on the federal side. So when you're born, now they start hypothecating you as a part of the United States property. So what happens is, and now that's one way to look at it, but I need you to look at it a different way so that when you come into this, you're not angry. I need you to come into this with a mindset of appreciation and gratitude, and you're going to see why in a few minutes. So they get your mother when she comes in the hospital. You got to understand, when you go into a hospital, that is a hostile territory that belongs to the U.S. corporation. It is a hostile territory. There's a Spanish term that they use when a mother comes in and she brings her child into the hospital. It's called parentos locos. That means crazy parent. So when you bring your child in there, you are already considered a crazy parent. You're not in your right mind, and they're going to treat you as such. So the first thing they want to do is get you to sign a birth certificate because it's controlled by the state, United States corporation. Watch this now. They're doing for you the same thing we show you how to do in UNA University. All hospitals have a post office. All hospitals have a post office. Well, why is that? What does that have to do with this, Diva? When you start to trade stocks and bonds, you better put it under federal protection. That's why the hospital has a post office. So the same thing when we talk about a poor man's copyright. Soon as your mother signs that birth certificate and all of those documents they get her to sign, well, she has consented to create a corporation with the name she gave you, but it's in all caps. She doesn't know what she's reading. She doesn't know what she's signing. But it is where she has given them permission to create a corporation using the name she gave you on that account, that estate. Because when she signs that birth certificate or whatever she signs, she has created money. She created money with her signature. And so those funds that she created now go to the U.S. corporation, but they have to hold on to it. The U.S. corporation is nothing more than what I call a credit union. That's all it is. Holding the funds that were created by your mother when she signed that birth certificate. Now, how much goes into the fund that's denoted by your social security number and your all cap name? How much goes into that fund? Well, today it's about $1 million. As far as we know of, it's about $1 million that goes into this estate. This estate now gets traded on the stock market, and then the funds are accumulated over 25 years. All right. $1 million goes into this fund and is compounded. over 25 years. Okay. So that's what's traded. This all capital letter corporation. If you believe this is you, then you the problem. They're trading your corporate entity, which started off, let's just say, at about $1 million. This is not you. This is a corporate entity. You are a spiritual entity. If you keep answering to this, the problem is you. Okay. So why should you be grateful? And I need us to pay attention to this. Your mother signed a document that was worth $1 million at the time of your birth. The United States Corporation, aka the United States Credit Union, actually took those funds and put them into an estate denoted by your all capital letter name and your social security number. Now imagine if your mother had gotten this $1 million and they told your mother, listen, this is all the money that we're going to give you for the rest of your child's life. So take care of it because this is what they're going to get. What would your mother have done with that $1 million? Anybody? And by the way, have you guys answered the question? Page 11, number 38. Nobody wants the consultation. Page 11, number 48. What is it? Under customs and usage. Just type it in if you want the free consultations. So if your mother had gotten that $1 million, she probably would have spent it all. Let's just be clear. Let's be honest on it. She probably would have spent it all. And so one of the things you want to be grateful about is that they put this up. This is worth way more than $1 million now in that account. Let's understand what the Social Security account was for. Originally, it was called a Social Security account. Now they just call it a Social Security number, but it is for the security of anything you need socially, to securitize anything you need socially. So you need water, gas, lights, phone, housing, car. That's what the Social Security number is for. It's an estate whereby when you need those funds, you're supposed to get it. That's why when you go to get a house, or whether it be a house or an apartment, a car, gas, water, light, they're always asking you for your Social Security number. Why? Because it's already paid for through your Social Security number, but they're not going to tell you that. So I get it when you're saying that, oh, well, you know, they're not accepting this voucher, because that's what when they send you a bill, they're supposed to accept that voucher. But when you know what to do, you know how to get it back. Okay, because everything you pay for by any corporation that is incorporated under the United States Corporation is supposed to come back to you at least dollar for dollar, at least, if not more. All right. So now we're understanding that why you went to, or what happened with the birth certificate and why it came about. Now you will hear people say, well, the Social Security number, it don't belong to us, it belonged to them. Let's be clear on this. Who signed? Who's the one whose signature created the money in the first place? That would be your mother. Your mother is the creator. Your mother is the creator. She created the trust. And let's understand, the corporation over here, it can't own anything of value. That $1 million, that belongs to the creator and the beneficiary of whoever's name is on that trust. You are the beneficiary. Your mother is the creator. The only ones who it belongs to is you and your mother. The problem is They might have come up with something that has the all capital letter name on it, but that's your mother's property she gave to you. It's called intellectual property. She created your name and said, this is my baby's name. And then they came over here and took an all capital letter version of it. That belongs to you and your mother because she made you the beneficiary. You just never claimed it. You can claim it now. Now that you have awakened, you can claim it. It belongs to you. So now what they're trading on the stock market, say thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for investing that $1 million, because if you gave it to my mama, but it's more than millions now. Thank you. I'll take that. Hold on. Thank you. I'll take that. That's what we show you how to do. All right. So yes, they're trading the all capital letter corporate entity on the stock market. If you think that's you, the problem is you, not them. So let's understand something. It's been used over the years because people have gotten ignorant to keep you down. It has been used as a tool to keep you down. But this is why, hold on, let me pull this up. This is why we give you the universal laws chart. Because there's a law in here that says all things have duality. All things have duality. So the same thing somebody tries to use to keep you down is the same thing you use to uplift yourself. All things have duality. Number 10, universal law of polarity. Anything that is used to keep you down can be used to uplift you. All things have duality when you gain knowledge of self and knowledge of law. All right. So I hope I answered your question about the hold on for a second. Y'all got a lot of questions today. All right. All right. Let me see. Yeah, the birth certificate and stock exchange. I hope I've answered your question on that. So originally it was created specifically to handle all of your bills, because just like the House Joint Resolution said, there is no money. So it is the United States responsibility. Why is it their responsibility? Because they're the ones who stole the gold. So then you got this United States credit union over here holding your funds. And let me tell you something, they are regulated. They have to do a certain amount for you, depending on what you call yourself, depending on the things that you say, how you walk, how you stand. All right. They have to do certain things for you. But when you know who you are, then you know how to access what belongs to you. All right. But that takes being willing to learn. If you're not willing to learn, then you're going to lose it. Okay. It's like if they had given that millions of dollars to your mother, you know good and well, it wouldn't be what it is now. So say thank you and take it. Let me see if I got any other questions. We are two rights concur, the more ancient shall be preferred. Okay. Now, if you guys ask a question, make sure you ask the whole question, because somebody just said where, but I'm not sure what the question was. All right. Where two rights concur more. Okay. Yes, the straw man is what I was just talking about. Some of y'all might know it as the straw man. Some people know it as the ens illegas. Do the laws you reference serve to elevate us to a higher level of consciousness? What is it? What is their intended purpose? Okay. If I'm talking to you about it, it's definitely used to elevate you. Okay. If you want to gain, if you want to elevate, the only way you can get it is by knowledge. If I'm giving it to you, I'm telling you how to elevate yourself. Universal laws. All right. On the legal side, okay, hierarchy of laws. On the legal side, this hierarchy helps you to understand where you stand. Here's a citizen all the way down here at the bottom. Meanwhile, those of us who know law and we know how to stand, we're sovereign. You got to understand those differences. And yes, it will help you to elevate yourself. Why would I give it to you if it didn't? I don't know. Now, your preachers might do that, but we don't do that here. Fiat currency. Yes, I'm going to go into, they'll tell you gold is the real currency. And I'm going to go into why it's really not. Dwayne, can an Albion that's spiritual be more spiritual than a melanated person that's spiritual? Hypothetically, with equal work on spirituality. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Dwayne. So let's speak on this, because there's this whole divide with melanated and Albion people. And so let's understand what the difference is. Okay. When I'm looking at you, what I see is a contract. Your vessel, your skin color, your hair, all of that is telling me the laws that make up you, whether you're a male or female, all of your height, that's telling me some things in the past, okay? Meaning another incarnation, okay? So, for example, when we're talking about a male versus female, I full well know on a spiritual level when I'm seeing a male, because I know law, because I know molecular structure, because I know how this dimension works. I know what I'm seeing. I can tell things about his mother. I can tell things about his previous life. I can tell because I know law, okay? So I'm seeing a contract of, who you were on a spiritual level. If I'm looking at a male versus a female, I'm looking at your past. I can see certain things. If I'm knowing about your childhood, I can see certain things. Okay, that's law. You are a walking set of laws. Now, when I talk about spirit, that's a different entity, and the spirit doesn't care about your skin color. The spirit universe doesn't care about your skin color, how much money you make, anything else. Only spirit, what's within you. Okay, so the deal is we're all spiritual entities up in here, and we always were and always will be. Now you'll hear some people say, well, some of these ain't spirits. Okay, but for the vast majority of us, we always were, even your Albions, because your Albions come from melanated people. So I'm going to go into that in a second. But spiritually, the universe doesn't care about your skin color and all of that. When the universe returns in energy, it's looking at who you are on a spiritual level. It doesn't care about anything as far as this outside. Okay, that needs to be made clear. So if the fact that you're trying to compare, that's telling me you got a little bit of growth to do. All right. And I'm not trying to be funny, because we've all been there. We've been made to fight against each other and all of that. Let me tell you where the Albions, according to my research, come from. According to my research and according to what science says, that your typical Albion comes, and I say typical Albion because there's another being that's cursed. I'm not going into that today, but your typical Albion, light-skinned person, they were grafted, meaning that somebody specifically tampered with the genes in the body to suppress the melanin and or the carbon in the cells. That's how you get light skin. All right. It does not come about naturally. It comes about because somebody was specifically tampering. Same thing with the Y chromosome. We talked about that already. It means somebody was tampering with who we are. like they tampering today. Like if you got that shot, okay, somebody's tampering with the DNA. They're introducing mRNA and all kind of other stuff to change your genes. Again, you're a contract. When they inject something in your body, it's purposely meant to change the contract that makes up you. And if you allow it, then the problem is you. Okay. So when you're looking at light skin, it is a grafting process that causes it. And so let's be clear, those like your typical albinoids, they come from melanated people. So I need you to understand something, how we have been fighting on a spiritual level and we don't get it. This is why I go into the universal laws all the time. People want to tell me, what about the child, Diva? Is the child innocent? Okay. I need y'all to understand. So y'all, and you all have heard it. Some of y'all know about the so-called curse on melanated folks, and that's 400 years. Okay, that's another story, but they know that when you put out energies, it must come back. So let's understand this. The problem with the fact that what went on in North America was hidden is a problem, because you know the saying, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And so if you don't, you've been lied to and they told you, oh, you came over here on some slave ships and then you're feeling like you are less than. One second. I'm getting notices. Okay. But yeah, if you're feeling like you're less than and they've told you slave ships, meanwhile, the rich, right? Woolly hair, like me. And then you got another melanated people that came into this land and actually started and created the United States of America. So you're not being told that you were royalty. You came from royalty, not only in this land, but maybe from other lands as well. And then now you got this idea that you want to fight the Albion, not recognizing the fact that you're the one who brought them here as slaves in the first place. You're the reason why they're over here as slaves in the first place. Nobody asked how so many of them got here. We know they're not from this land. Meanwhile, melanated people know they're from this. Now we're starting to know that we're from this land, and we're starting to rise up so that we can, take back over what belongs to us. That's great. But listen, you got to understand that with the Albion, how they got here and the fact that they were mistreated by melanated people first. And I know that's, upsetting everybody. Well, where my reparations at? The truth is, when we're talking about your Moors, they kidnap Albions. Okay, so let me go into this. According to my research, Albions, again, we talked about how they were grafted. And it was over 7 phases. There were over 7 phases. Once you graft out the carbon and the melanin in the genes, then you get this light-skinned entity. One moment. I start talking about this stuff and they will shut my live down, which is what they did. Hold on for a second. On TikTok, we went down. That's what happened when I started getting into the good stuff. Hold on. Let me make sure we're up. We're still up and running. And then we're going to carry on. Just get insight from my tech. Okay. So let me continue on with this, and then they'll let me know what's going on. So here's what happens. When in Argentina, according to my research, there were your melanated beings that were grafting. And you all have heard about, like, for example, you've seen the cartoons or the movies or whatever, where you got a being that's half being, half human, and then half horse or half goat or half donkey. There was a lot of splicing going on at that time. The problem is that when you're talking about brown skin or dark skin, you cannot match or connect those a brown entity with other beings. You can't mate it with other beings. You cannot mix the DNA because something in that blood or that cell is not going to allow you to splice it with other beings. But what they found is when we start removing the carbon, when we start removing the melanin, well then, okay, we can start doing this and splicing the DNA with other entities. And that's why you got this light skin, because it's like, okay, well then shoot, let's go and do it. That was one of the reasons. So in Argentina, they decided that, okay, first of all, they saw that the people that they created, or the entities they created, they couldn't take the topography of that land. It was too hot. So they moved them to other areas that were cooler. Some of y'all know Caucasus Mountains. Some of y'all know, other areas, Ireland and other, what we know of today as Europe. They were moved to cooler climates. Okay. But what happened is that your Moors, melanated people who sailed and did whatever they did, they started kidnapping these people. Sicily, Ireland was a high rate of your light-skinned people where they started kidnapping them and then putting them into slavery. They were kidnapped as children. There's some places that they kidnapped so many people, the place where they took them, it couldn't survive anymore because they didn't have enough people. And this is what Moors were doing. And we know in the Americas, 1600s, 1700s, there were Indians who had slaves. So-called 5 civilized tribes had slaves. If you don't believe me, go and look up the codes where they had made it illegal at one point for Indians to have so-called Christian slaves. Christian represented Albion. So they had to start telling them, like, hey, you guys, you Indians, y'all can't have Christian slaves anymore. You can have the other slaves. But you can't have Christian slaves, which is your Albion. Okay. So then at that point, it was okay. What I'm just letting you know of is that there was a time when your Albion they were slaves. And there's clear legal documentation, historical documentation, all kind of etymological documentation that's showing everything that I'm saying here today. Okay, so we're understanding that not only Moors who were coming into this land, melanated folks, but the original people of this land also were participating in doing dirt to the Albion. So we cannot overlook that. Again, when you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So you keep fighting against them because you want to be angry with the white man, but you're not understanding there's somebody behind the scenes that's causing you to fight against them. Albions are not running this game. I need that to be made clear. Your typical Albion is not, they don't own nothing. They don't. There's one group of people who own 90% of the resources on this planet, and they make up less than 10% of the population on this planet. I'm going to say this again for the people in the back of the room. There's one group of people who own more than 90% of the resources. They own and or control 90% of the resources. I'm getting notices. I'm trying to figure out where they come from. Okay. So there's one group of people who owns more than 90% of the resources on this planet and make up less than 10% of the population on this planet. And it's not your Albions. It's not. It's a different group. And that group don't give no more of a darn about the Albion than they do about the melanated people. They will step on everybody. So I need that to be made clear. So since you want to keep fighting the Albion, you should have put, why you didn't put the Jew in there? Huh? You don't need to be fighting against the Albion. That's not your enemy. Somebody's tricking you. So don't even, the whole thing is, are you spiritual? Because the universe doesn't care about whose spirit it is that puts out an energy. Only thing the universe seeks is balance. The only thing the universe seeks is balance. Right here. If you put an energy out, it's coming back. And when it comes back, she's not going to miss and give it to somebody else who didn't put it out. She knows who it is. So my whole thing is, you're asking that question that's telling me that spiritually you gotta get in alignment, because you're not, if that is your concern. What can we use if we have home births as identification for our children? C-scan, C-star. All you got to do is create a trust. That's what we, hold on. Is that not an identification right there? This right here. We'll even show you how to go so far as to get, you can still get a social security number and all of that for your child and have control over it. Okay? Thank you for the question, C-Star. Hold on, let me see what we got. Thank y'all for your questions. Once again, we're broadcasting live. We're broadcasting on TikTok, but we're on YouTube, X, Twitch, Rumble. I'm just trying to see what's going on with TikTok. All right, next question. Sage says everybody became slaves owned. Sage, didn't I just go through that? See, if you think you a slave and owned, the problem is you. When you don't let people talk to you with that kind of language and energy, because all they doing is just trying to get you upset. And we talked about, especially melanated women, we talked about the dangers of you being upset. You're gonna destroy everything and yourself and everybody else around you. So don't let people talk to you like that about, everybody became slaves, you became. If that's what you believe, the problem is you. They never owned you. You just lack knowledge of how to control self and be a sovereign. Now you're learning how to be a sovereign. Please don't let people talk to you like that and come to you trying to trigger you and make you angry. And, we're going to fight. You don't have to fight nothing. You don't have to fight nothing, because everything already belongs to you. What you fighting about? You don't have to raise no gun. You don't have to raise none of that. So watch who you allow to share this information. If they are triggering you and you angry and you upset, hold on 1 second. If you down here in anger and guilt and shame and all this, you can't win down here. Anybody who's trying to trigger you, they trying to keep you from winning up here. So anybody who comes to you talking, they made us all slaves, and this is what you need. You need to be like, this move right. I'm just. You need to just disappear. Next question. Hold on. I'm just trying to find out what's going on with my TikTok stream. You know, when I start doing some talking about the good stuff, then they want to shut it down. You know what I'm saying? That's how they do. Divine says, so how do we get out of this trap our mother put us in? This is crazy. Divine. That's what I mean. Hold on. How do we get out of this? Let me stop, because people get upset when they feel like I'm mocking them. I'm not mocking you, Divine, but I need you to come. I need you to change your mindset. Do you want to win, Divine, or you want to stay down here? You want to win, Divine, or you want to stay down here? If you want to win, don't come with that kind of talk. Well, how we get out of it? Only question is, I want to elevate, Diva. How do we do that? That's it. All that anger and frustration. This is crazy. We don't do that here. Because my people know we operate up here. Ain't no anger down here. Ain't no upset and no none of that. It's like, okay, good. Now I know we're ready to go ahead and flip this script. And I need to say this too. So I'm getting back on the person who asked me that question about melanated and albion people. We are not in this situation by happenstance. Melanated people, listen, pay attention. We are not in this situation by happenstance. We are here because of energies that we put out at a different time. So what I mean, this is not happenstance, is that, again, when you are in another time and you're putting out energies, you got to recognize that's going to come back. Those energies, when your vessel expires, they don't just go away. That's why when I say you are your ancestors, you literally are your ancestors. I go into this on a molecular level as well, but hear me when I tell you that you literally are your ancestors. So when your ancestors do some dirt, well, then it don't just go away when their vessel expires. Oh, you're going to catch that, because you are nothing more than a spirit that came back in here from the cosmos. That's all a child is, and it is an old spirit coming back in a new vessel. So if you're experiencing something, it's not because, well, I'm being good, I ain't never did to nobody. No, that's not how that works. So if you are experiencing some kind of energy that you don't feel is righteous, then okay, that's because we want to recognize, okay, our ancestors wasn't all that pristine. They weren't all that righteous. So how do we clean it up within ourselves? So the first thing you don't want to do is don't be fighting albions, and recognize that somebody else is trying to trigger you. Secondly, recognize that all of us are here for a reason, and there are things we have to learn. Okay? And so when you're here, instead of it being upset about what you're seeing, recognize where it came from. Melanated people, y'all used to own everything. Again, all of this land still to this day is in the name of melanated people, the woman. To this day, this whole North America in particular, because we got legal documentation that shows this. But not just North America, South America as well. And likely all the other land on this planet in the name of women, but definitely North America. I got documentation on that. So melanated people, you used to own everything, especially when we're talking about, even when we go and look in the royalty. All royalty used to be melanated people. All royalty is melanated, was originally melanated people. Thank you for the love, Nathan. All right. I told you we got this new system, and I'm trying to get used to it. So we had another new one. That's we kicked that to the curb because that was terrible. But this one I'm loving, but it's got a lot of I got a lot of notices and bells and whistles that I got to get used to in this thing. All right, so hold on for 1 second. We got a notice. It says, hold on. The live was removed for violations. See how TikTok does? I didn't even know what I said. I don't even know what I said. Did I say Jews? I don't know. Anyway, but we'll be up in it soon. And by the way, what we're going to do is we have UNARepublic coming up, where it's going to be, well, we already have it, but we're going to have it where we'll go live. When we go live, we'll also be going live on UNARepublic so that you'll be able to catch us on there as well. So we're going to invite everybody there because TikTok is, not giving us the freedom to speak. I have no idea what it is that I said, but you never know with TikTok. They just remove you for whatever reason. Okay. So let me continue. I hope that answers your question. So now I said I'm giving away, unfortunately, my people on TikTok cannot participate in this, but anybody who has the UNA law book, give me a law of maxim, any one of them. Type in a law of maxim, just say law of maxim and type whichever one you want to put in there. Also, give me the title to a chapter in Tapping Into Your Supernatural Powers. Just give me a title. If you want a free consultation, go ahead and just type that into the chat. And then we're going to, again, first two that come for either, whether it be UNA Beginner Law Book or Tapping Into Your Supernatural Powers. If you want a free consultation, give me either a law of maxim, whichever one you want, just type it in, or a chapter from the chapter title from Tapping Into Your Supernatural Powers. Okay. Divine said, move to California and put me in private school. I don't have to move there. You can just, we have the UNA University, and we have sessions every Monday and Wednesday so that our students can really gain all of the knowledge on anything they want, whether it be on the spiritual side or on the banking side, which is in this, what we call the matrix. The public side. Where two rights? Okay. I have changed my mindset for sure. I just was saying I'm never angry. Okay, good. Divine. Just make sure we don't go in, it's slavery and they made us and they don't own nothing. All right. You got to just change your mindset. It isn't about adopting a slave mentality, rather it's acknowledging the undeniable disparities and oppressive structures within this flawed and often dark realm. This realm is perfect. Loris, you just asked me about did we choose or what have you. This realm is perfect. Anything that people are getting, it is because they put it out. Again, you are your ancestors, literally. And people don't want to acknowledge that because they want to think, the baby is innocent and this place is unfair and the universe did us dirty. The universe is only returning the energies that were put out. So you might be saying, well, I don't remember doing that. Okay, that's part of the game. Because the same way when somebody goes and kidnaps an Albion and takes them from their family as a child and brings them to the land of the Americas, or takes them to Morocco or whatever they're doing, that is an energy and it has to be paid for. And then when their history gets rewritten and they are clueless, because you got Albions here, they clueless about who they really are. Okay? And so when they are made clueless, whoever is a part of that happening, that energy has to be returned. And I know it seems like, what I don't remember doing. Did your ancestors do it? If somebody's up in here talking about they Moors, they shouldn't be complaining about nothing. Because those were the main people kidnapping folks. And they were melanated. So let's be honest about this. This is why we got to go into the history, because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And so people are being angry with the Albion and wanting to go off on this and go off on this. What happened in history? So if, again, you down here operating angry and, oh, it's disparaging in this realm and it's terrible, you're going to do something to keep yourself cycling back into this mess. We got to be honest about what actually happened. No one can be forced to enter a contract. All contracts entered into by. All right, divinity. So make notes about divinity. All right. Make sure we get your email address, divinity. You can send it to us at UNAlovemarket.com. UNAlovemarket.com. Make sure we get your email address. So here again, I get it that it seems that this land or this place is disparaging or what have you. But you've got to understand and recognize the fact that everything you see is a return of energies. If you don't like it, you can change it by changing your energies. It's as simple as that. Your heaven or your hell is right here, right now. And it is determined by the energies that you put out. So when you get a child coming back into something, and to you, I get it. It's going to look like, oh my God, that child is innocent. But that's not what the universe is saying. I'm just telling you what the universe is saying and how energies work. I've seen enough to know this, and I go back into people's history and their family, and I can see something. I've seen enough to know that when we're talking about reincarnation, that's very much real. I've seen enough to know that when we're talking about when, you got a child coming in here and they're receiving certain energies, I've seen enough to know that that is real and where those energies come from. I've talked about this in a couple of my sessions. So, but yeah, thank you guys. Divine, I got you. Let me see. Divine Waters of Truth. I'm answering questions right now. And unfortunately, we lost our live on TikTok. So be it. Let's see. Even so, we have powers to establish our own sovereignty and create. Okay. Let's see here. Next question. If y'all have questions, put them in the comment section so I get to them before I get out of here. I am educating myself all by myself. I have a fixed income. Okay. All right. Your voice and energy. Thank you so much, Nathan, for the love. Your voice and energy is very suitable for teaching. Thank you. You're just trying to flatter me. I know that's what you're doing. But yeah, if you had asked me again, if somebody was calling me, you a teacher, you were going to teach. I was like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm offended. So, but I appreciate that, Nathan. Thank you for the love. Yeah, Divines, you can go and get the book at UNAUniversity.com. UNAUniversity.com. Raina says they can't handle the truth. Raina, no, they can't. No, they can't. And I'm going to tell you something. when I put out this, so let me go into this. I'm supposed to go into some of our TikToks. We had quite a few TikToks to go semi-viral. I say semi-viral because they're not, people go viral. I was like, we're not at that point. We go semi-viral. We can tell that people have really picked it up. But when one of our big ones now is let's see. I'm going through, especially the one where I spoke about the man and the woman's anatomy. Though that one did a lot of numbers, and also the one that I did on X-Men, that one did a lot of numbers. And so what happens is, especially when we're talking about the male and the female, our brothers, some of my brothers, they get upset, and I get it. I get it that this information is hard to take. And so my thing is, when I put this information out, it's not put out, I'm not intending to put it out as a weapon or weaponize this information against my brother or against the Albion or against anybody else for that matter. My whole purpose is to just give the facts. That's all we do. And so when I put this out, yeah, especially when I talk about the male, a lot of brothers get upset. But I want y'all to know I love you, but I just got to tell the facts. So I had one person to come on, and he said, like, there shouldn't be a fight between men and women. But here's the deal. If you think that the facts that I'm putting out is a fight, then the problem is with you. For the simple fact that because the woman in particular is ignorant about the facts of who she is and what her powers are, this whole society is backwards and upside down. It's because she's ignorant. But the minute she becomes knowledgeable about who she is and learns how to run her powers in the right way, well, then we get to clean up this society. So you being upset with me because I'm telling the facts, and all I'm giving is the fact, well, man and woman need each other. Here's the bottom line. The woman has to heal. She has to heal. And she cannot heal when she keeps spreading her legs, period and point blank. She can't. And then, see, these are facts because we're not even understanding, what is she healing from? First of all, she doesn't even have love for herself. You telling her to love somebody else. I heard this song. I wasn't even going to talk about this today, but I'm going in. Not that long. But I heard a song by this woman called, what was her name? Sullivan, Jasmine Sullivan had this song, and I don't remember the name of the song, but she was in concert. And she was singing about how she was in this relationship for 3 years, trying to get a high that she felt when she first got with this person. But for 3 years, she was miserable. She stayed in this relationship trying to get back to that high from the beginning of the relationship. And finally, she's singing in this song, and she talks about, I love that man. And all the audience cheering. Yeah, you love that man. She said, but I loved him more than I loved myself. And that ain't right. She said, I loved him more than I loved myself. And that ain't right. That ain't right. You cannot love somebody more than you love yourself, because when you do that, what you do is put yourself in a position where you allow yourself to be misused, mistreated, and abused. So before she gets into anything, she needs to learn how to love herself first. Then she needs to learn who she is. She needs to learn what her powers are. Then she needs to learn, who is this being that I'm about to conduct business with? If she doesn't know those things, then she is the reason why this society becomes upside down and backwards, because first of all, she didn't have self-love. So how does she heal? How can she heal when she's constantly spreading herself and allowing somebody to spray seed in her when she doesn't have self-love and know who she is? How? She got to close her legs. She got to chill out and tap into source, because that's another thing. You can't tap into source when you're eating wrong, you're being around people who are talking wrong, you're smoking and drinking and doing all this other, everything that's further removing you from source, because you over here stuck on flesh. I'm just telling you what the facts are. So if you're upset with me giving her the facts, the problem is you. The fight is within you. Because the only thing I give are the facts, whether it be about the male, the female, the Albion, the Jew, the whoever it is. I'm just giving you what the facts are. Divinity, thank you. Angelic says, I was just saying, I understand. Thank you, Angelic. Law of Maxim 12, anyone can renounce a law introduced for their own benefit. Thank you, Jessica. Jessica Martin. All right. Make sure we get your email address. Thank you, Jessica. So that's 2 consultations. I have one more. Did anybody get the book, Tapping into Your Supernatural Powers? If you did, I want you to tell me a chapter that you liked in the book. All right, Sage. Sage says, taken out of context. My apologies. Let me know what I said wrong, and then I'll respond to it. Dwayne says, I question continuously living in higher levels. It seems like you want to avoid the lower levels at all costs. Is there value in experiencing the lower levels of energy? Are you talking about down here? It's very difficult to build anything positive by operating in these lower dimensions. All right, if this we're talking about lower vibratory frequencies, and then I'm going to get into so your lower levels of energy, your lower levels of energy make it very difficult for you to win. All right, when you okay, I'm gonna give you some examples. Okay, like boxing. So when even playing basketball, any sports, you can have anger, right? If you know how to channel your anger, you can make that anger work for you. But let's say boxing, and you go in the boxing ring and you just angry, and you're not operating in your right mind. So all you got is anger. Well, in most cases, you're gonna make a mistake and you're gonna get knocked out. Because in boxing, you gotta have some kind of understanding up here. You gotta be in a different realm other than just anger. Because if you're operating down here, what's going to end up happening is you're going to do something, make a wrong move, you're going to overexert yourself, you're going to do something stupid, you're going to get knocked out. So even though, let's say you do have that anger, you got to know how to channel it. You got to know how to control it so that it doesn't take you out of your game. And so when we're talking about this game dealing in this third dimension, and let's talk about this, the society and what we call the matrix. Let's just talk about that. Instead of being in the mindset of you are a slave and somebody, they put me in this trap and all this other stuff, you're not recognizing they get all kind of resources that you need so you can get yourself up out of it. They gave you everything that they use to keep you down. Okay, Google. And we start using Google to find information. Now they blocking Google and they gave you AI. And they want to make you think AI is really telling you the truth when it's not. That's another story. But you can use AI still to uplift yourself, even though they're trying to keep blocking you, even with AI. When we're talking about the Social Security number, again, if you look at it, it's two sides. It's a coin. and you're looking at the wrong side. You all, oh, we are slave. But when you learn the other side, then wait, that belongs to me. It's got my name on it. That came from my mother. I'm the beneficiary of this thing because they can't own anything. It all belongs to me. So when you learn that, well, it becomes a different story. We're operating on a different side of this thing as opposed to being broke and angry. No, we rich and uplifted. That's what my people do. All right. So if you're going to operate, you can't be in anger and despair. Come up here. Hold on. Come on up here to acceptance and reason. Why did this appear? How can I use it to build me? All right. We're not doing this no more. As a matter of fact, at some point, we're going to take this whole part off. We don't even need to operate. We don't even need to see this. Because we are, okay, I accept what I'm seeing. Okay, I got it. All right, this is an energy. How do I use it to uplift myself? This is what we want to start doing. Okay. Thank y'all for the love and support. Let's see. And again, if you have any questions, hit me in the comment section so that I can get to them before I get up out of here. I know you emphasize self-development and putting yourself first, but what are your views on different types of relationships? Do you support lesbian relationships? Okay. Here's this. Okay. You have to find self first. Self first. Love yourself first, regardless of what kind of relationship it is. Now, when we start talking about tapping into source, again, keep your legs closed, because you got to understand when we're dealing with source, you've got to remove yourself more from the carnal side, meaning all this pleasuring yourself, that's the carnal side. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm not saying that. What I'm telling you is that if you're tapping into source, you're going to have to gain a discipline. All right. I'm not telling you not to have sex. So don't be talking about Diva said we can't have sex. I didn't say that. What I'm telling you is when you're tapping into source, that means removing, gaining a discipline when it comes to the carnal. All right. You got to be more disciplined. Okay. Now, when it comes to relationships, I don't tell anybody what relationship they should have. I don't condemn or condone anybody's relationship at all. For me, Diva Lyri is a nun. Nuns don't get none. Okay? That's how I work. So I don't talk about relationships as far as being with other people, because for me, the most important relationship is your relationship with self. That's the most important. That's the one that's not talked about. Do you love yourself? Can you look in the mirror and say, I love you? Because if you can't, then you got problems. You need to get that right first. And a lot of people can't do that. So self-love is first. And then if you want to go and get into whatever relationship you get into, my whole thing is find your peace. When there is not peace, do not stay there. Find your peace. And if you're with someone and there is no peace, don't stay there. That would be what I would say to do. Okay. Thank you for that question. Let me see. I will get all I can from you, Miss Diva. Granted, I will pay. All right. Thank you, Angelic. Master teacher. Thank you, Darman. I appreciate it. I thank the Divine Mother and your earthly mother for manifesting. Thank you so much. Thank you for the love. Chapter 13. The mitochondria recognizes that she has been tricked. All right, Raina. Hold on. So I got my 3 consultations. I'm just typing this in. 111. Let's go. Okay, so I want to look at this. Chapter 13 here realizes that she has been tricked. So if you guys get this book, and honestly, I think I'm proud of this book. I thank you guys for supporting it and supporting what we do with UNA. But this is chapter 13, where the mitochondria realizes that she has been tricked. And if you look at this this illustration here, it's showing how a horse and a zebra, they're not supposed to be able to mate. Not naturally, but this is how they trick the mitochondria, because they're turning her off or they're splicing DNA. But this is not a natural process where this horse and this zebra have come together and created a being. And also, real quick, when you get the book, there is a audio version of it here, so you can scan. Each chapter has a QR code. All right, so the mitochondria recognizes that she has been tricked. And just briefly, I'm gonna read a little bit of this. We've already talked about what happens when a mitochondria does her first check. She's regulating what gets to enter this dimension. Now we're entering the second check. And this is where all hell breaks loose. I told you guys about this. We've gone over this before. Because now she realizes she's been tricked. Let's break this down clearly. When those embryonic cells re-enter the vessel, meaning the yolk sac empties back into the embryo, the mitochondria who had been asleep wakes up. She takes a look around and says, wait, something is not right. These are not the same beings I approved. This is where regulation begins. And by regulation, I mean she starts canceling contracts. She starts rewriting the code. She starts stripping powers. You are a walking contract, as I have said already here today. So let me say this again. You are a walking set of laws. You are a contract. You are currency. And what does it take to make money? 2 signatures. Okay, so then I go into all of that. Okay, so what we're just dealing with, and I've talked to you guys about this before, is that the mitochondria does a check when the sperm first hits the egg, and then she does another check when the yolk sac empties back into the embryo. This is why you have to wait 4 months before you know whether it's going to stay a girl or be a boy, okay? But I thank you for that. We got our 3 people. Thank you guys for allowing me to give you these consultations. Let me finish answering questions. Lois says, your book will be my Christmas present. Okay, let's go. Who is the mitochondria and what are her powers? Oh my goodness. Sage asked a beautiful question because I love talking about the mitochondria. All right, what is the mitochondria and what are her powers? All right, so the mitochondria is an entity that originally she survived on her own, but she gives power to everything on this planet by way of adenosine triphosphate, ATP. Nothing moves on this planet without the mitochondria. Okay, she gives everything, and please trust me, man has been trying to replace her since the beginning, but she keeps regulating this dimension. So she gives everything power. Anything we feel, touch, and hear, it has to go through her womb before it gets here. Wood, plastic, metal, your skin, it's got to come through her womb before it gets here. This is her dimension. All of the water, it comes from her. So in her manufacturing of adenosine triphosphate, then she gives off water. Water is like mitochondria poo. She's not really trying to make that, but because she's creating power for everything in this dimension, she gives off water. You can't live without water for longer than what, 3-4 days? And then you out. That comes from the mitochondria. So everything that you see, feel, and touch comes through her womb. Water, you can't live without it. That's what she produces. You can't move without adenosine triphosphate. And then nothing, she's going to regulate all of the beings that come into this dimension. Meaning, this is why the horse and the zebra, they're not supposed to be mating and coming up with the being. But that's man that keeps tampering with her. But she said no. If it was natural, if that horse and that horse, whatever, inseminated the zebra, or the zebra inseminated the horse, the mitochondria is going to shut it down immediately. She is Mother Nature. I don't know anything you can say about God that you can't say about the mitochondria. I hope I'm answering your questions. I'm going to say it again. I don't know anything you can say about God that you can't say about the mitochondria. Go ahead and try. So when we're talking about, oh, it's omnipotent, it knows everything. When we talk about spiritual baggage and karmic baggage or karmic records, Akashic, some of you all have heard of it. When we're talking about Akashic records, who you think keeping them? Where you think the library is? That's with the mitochondria. That's with, even when you're talking about the hydrogen cell that she uses. Hydrogen. Hydro meaning water. Understand that when I say, speak about the mitochondria, I don't know anything you can say about God that you can't say about the mitochondria. Okay, so that's who she is. Thank you for the question. Chapter 1. Let me see, Divinity. I enjoyed the whole book. Chapter 3, the Anunnaki tampered with the Mother Nature. I enjoyed learning about the mitochondria. Thank you, Divinity. I appreciate it. Glad you got the book. I was acknowledging the game. Oh, yeah, okay. There is a game. Only use the brain. Only use the brain. I was bragging to someone about you being a nun just now. I don't know if that's bragging now. Don't listen. I'm not telling anybody to walk my path. All right. This is my spiritual path and I have to walk it. So only thing that I say to anybody else is to make sure you have peace and happiness. And it starts with you loving self. If you don't love self, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a very difficult time. And so this is why I say to women, we're talking about healing. Yeah, you gotta back off and tap into source. And you can't do that when you letting people spray in you. And when you keep eating the wrong way and hanging with the wrong people. Listen, hanging with the wrong people is just as toxic as eating the wrong foods. More so toxic than eating the wrong foods. So everything has to change about your discipline and how you walk. The X and Y chromosome are a contract. Absolutely, Sage. Under the circumstances of who controls media and all institutions of imagery, how do you visualize mankind being checked by the watchers or by us here on Earth? By the universe, Darman. By the universe. Because you got to understand that, again, energies, they got to balance themselves. And when you look at this dimension, it's perfect. The problem is we don't understand the language of the universe. So things are balancing now. And you got to understand that those who are playing this game, what they try to do is they try to manipulate what's going on and how they want to manipulate it. But the universe is always working. They're not slick. And this is why you want to appreciate the mitochondria, because they keep trying to tamper with her. They have an understanding of how the universe works and, what the laws of the mitochondria and how she does things. But she keeps a record. And they might try to delete the record. The only way they can delete the record is by making people ignorant. But when you want to gain knowledge and you want to stand in your own power, well, then they can't block that. They just can't block it. The only thing, again, this is why they want to, keep dumbing you down. They want to keep injecting you with things. and keep feeding you poisons, keep giving you subliminal messages to do things that you really shouldn't be doing, because they want to keep you dumbed down. The only way that you stay dumb is when you choose not to uplift yourself. The problem is not them, it's you. So again, once you regain knowledge and you start putting out the energies that need to be put out, they can't do nothing to stop you. Nothing. They're going to come up with a new trick. They're going to come up with a new game. But if you stay on your knowledge and you stay tapped into source, there's nothing they can do to stop you from ascending. Nothing. All right? All right, the book is a masterpiece. Thank you, Divinity. I appreciate the love. Do you believe the Divine Mother, the oracles, the symbols, and what is your perspective on dreams? Okay, thank you for that, Lois. Leoris. The Divine Mother, I talk to y'all about this all the time. The Bible scriptures, those scriptures in the Bible, those are written by symbols and oracles. And you got to understand that she was written out of her stories. So yeah, I definitely know in the oracles and the symbol. I'm an oracle and a Sybil Supreme. So I go into that all the time. But yeah, so definitely we go into how the woman was written out of her stories, the things that she did in the past, all of the places where she was ruling on this planet, and the fact that this was a matriarchal planet. We go into that all the time. On dreams is the real world. Okay. Thank y'all for the love. Dreams are the real world. So people ask me all the time, they're like, Diva, I had this dream, because I can tell things when I look in this dimension. All right. So when this dimension here is mathematical, it's not really considered real. Okay. It's a dimension that is created, and that's not such a bad thing when you know what it is. Okay. It's mathematical. Everything can be represented by some kind of way, whether it be a sound wave or a light wave. That's math. That's numbers. That's this. You can put a number on it. It's all math. And the cool thing about that is when you know the language of this universe, then you can foresee things. You can see what's happening in the future, and you can see what happened in the past. That's why I can look at people and I can say, hey, you're a walking set of laws. I can tell what happened in your past. I can tell what happened with your mama. I can tell what happened with your family members. I can tell you what happened when you was back in another time. I can tell those things by looking at you, because this dimension is just mathematical. And what's great about it is when somebody is trying to use something against me, well, then I know how to flip the script and make it work for me. Because these universal laws, once you know them, then you can make this dimension be what you need it to be. Hold on, get my universal laws over here, right here. When you know these laws, then you can walk like a god in this dimension. Okay. So that's the great thing about it. Now, when we're talking about the dream dimension, because somebody said, well, how do we transmute these laws? Well, your dreams is where these laws don't matter. The dream is the real world. Yeah, you want to make these laws go away in your dreams, but that's the real world. And why do we say that's the real world? Because of the simple fact that everything that you see in this dimension comes from here. Everything that you see in this dimension, whether it be some trees or some grass or, your mouse, your computer, came from somebody's mind. So if you're wanting to create, everything starts here. Okay. And then once it's up here, then you can manifest it. You think about it, you have a thought about it, then you can manifest it. All right. I hope I answered that question. Thank you, Sel Keats. All right. Yes, Queen, I can say when, but I am going to join. Or I can't say when, but all right, Diamond, let's go. When you ready, we ready. All right, so let's go. I want to say thank you guys. Unfortunately, my TikTok shut down, but this is what we're going to do. Once again, we're going to make sure we get everything set up so that, regardless of whether we go live on these platforms or not, we're on UNARepublic.com. Also, we're going to have after sessions for those who are members, where we're going to be talking directly, to each other. You can ask me questions directly, and we can have a conversation, those tough conversations. So we'll have after sessions for that coming up. I want to thank who are my three people? Raina, Jessica, and Divinity. You all have a free consultation. So we're going to send an email. Make sure we get your email. And let's go. I'm so happy that we've made our 50,000 on TikTok. That keeps kicking us off and won't let me tell you the truth. But I'm going to get it to you. And I want to say thank you guys for your love and support. Glad you all enjoyed the book. For those of y'all who have purchased, I'm so glad that you have enjoyed the book. Okay, so we're going to get back to you on Friday. If you want to join the university, leave your name, number, email so we can get you ready for our winter 2026 session. Gratitude, Sage. All right. And then what we're going to do, be back here next Friday, get you in for our winter 2026 session. Make sure you get the book at UNA University for beginner law book and tapping into your supernatural powers. I love you guys. I thank you. I am grateful that you have allowed me to share this information with you. See you Friday. I love you. Bye-bye. Let's go.